Right here? All right. Good morning. Good morning. Sorry, I have a lot of things, and first off is my camp hat. Now, I'm not going to wear this hat all through church, but I'm going to wear it right now for Camp Sunday. And what I want to share with you all is the mission of King Solomon Christian Camp. My job there at camp is the facility superintendent. That's a big word for I do what needs done. But what I do during the summer is I cook all the food for all the campers that come through. In the off season, I'm working with my dad, who's still the director, and we get things done all around camp. Now, a fun fact, my name is Jonathan, but I go by Jay just about everywhere else. Even the bank knows me as Jay. So, that's a fun fact about me. Now, fun fact about camp, I'm going to try and move my computer so that I'm not moving out as much. Let's see if I can do this to where I'm not just completely moving out. What did I do? There we go. Perfect. Camp has always been a unique camp. From back when it started in 1953. And we're coming up on our 75th anniversary in 2 years, so stay tuned for that. But back in 1953, a bunch of churches, like yours, came together and saw a need for a safe place for students to come and learn about Christ. And since then, we're still preaching the same truth that the church is preaching. But one way that we've been unique is we don't allow cell phones. We're a little old-fashioned that way. When campers come to camp with a cell phone, we very politely ask them to give it to us and we lock it away in a box all week. We allow adults to come to camp with a cell phone, but if they leave it lying around and lose it, then I hide it, and then they freak out. It's a lot of fun. But we keep phones away for two reasons. Number one, we want to be a safe place. And friends, I don't know if you know this, but phones aren't safe. Phones are not a safe thing to just have around all the time. And all it takes is to swipe to the side and you have camera on your phone. Or if it's not your phone, you can do that to anybody else's phone and usually get the camera to pop up. Suddenly, in a dorm room, which is a very vulnerable place when you're getting dressed, or a bathhouse is even worse, somebody with not good intentions can just swipe to the side on any phone and get a picture. That's not safe. So we don't allow campers to bring cell phones. And my dad gives the fear of God speech about adults having their cell phones at camp. Plus, we don't have good service, so it helps. But the second reason that we don't allow cell phones at camp is because they're noisy. I mean, imagine you're sitting there and I'm preaching right here, and then you hear a ding and then we're continuing on with our talk because I got a text. Hello? And then you're getting a phone call. It gets in the way of conversation. It gets in the way of building relationships. Phones are loud. And if you flip over to 1 Kings chapter 19, you'll read about our God, who is very loud, but he doesn't speak in the noise. In 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 9. Actually, we're going to go on down to 11. This is God speaking to Elijah. He said, "Go outside and stand on the mountain before God." And right then and there, the Lord went past. A mighty blast of wind tore the mountains apart and broke the rocks in pieces before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind came an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake, fire broke out, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a quiet, subdued voice. campers to come and hear that still, small voice. This is a picture of a camper right now. She's sitting on the steps going up to a dorm room, but she's doing his time. And at the older kid camps, at senior high, junior high, and 5th and 6th, we make it a priority that his time happens. This is when everybody divides off, and you'll see kids littered all around camp. And for the first time that day, it's dead silent. You can hear a mosquito buzz. And they're just sitting there, reading, praying. This is why we don't allow cell phones. We need his time, and they need his time. And that's what they do. They get to sit and be still. But a second way that camp is unique is we break out into family groups. So usually when you go somewhere, you go as a youth group, and those are really good. I mean, going to Branson is so awesome. Going to other youth events as a youth group, man, that builds a youth group tight, and that's good. But when you come to camp, sometimes you are the only student who came from your church coming to this age of camp. And other times, you're 1 in 25, and you just feel like another fish in the sea. So when you come to camp, whether you were the nerd in the youth group, or the jock in the youth group, the popular one, the goofball, whatever you were, you come to camp and you get split up. Everybody comes to camp and everybody gets split up right away because we want everybody to start off on the same ground. Nobody is better than anybody else. Family groups break out at the beginning of camp to put everyone on that level ground. Now, I did this at another church, and I got some hassle for it, but I'm going to do it again because I'm just that way. I'm not the pastor, you can be mad at me. But what I want you to do, if you're able, if you're not, then don't. Please stay seated. But if you can, move to another spot. Get up and move to the end of the row. Move to another spot somewhere. Let's all start at ground zero instead of at the, good job, New. Instead of in the same spot you always are, let's move. You can stay there because you're running the iPad, I guess. You're going to stay right there? Come on, Ev. Come on. At least sit back with Lydia. Oh, great right souls. Here. Oh, there you go. That's smarter. You're smart. So sometimes this goes off really well, and other times I get a lot of as I go to another spot. But this worked out very well. We're all at ground zero. This is what happens at camp. Everybody moves to another group. We all start off kind of uncomfortable. But you know, even I had to have that happen to me. Because when I went to camp, I was the director's son. So, you know, you think you're big stuff. And not only that, but I have preacher's kid stamped across my forehead, so I'm really big stuff and really good, and I think I'm all that. But I went to camp, and it didn't matter who I was. The adults looked at me and said, all right, you go over there. You're going into that group. You don't get to choose. And I got a little humbled, put into my spot. And at camp, I made relationships. Not because I was director's son, not because I was the certain kid in the youth group, not because I was preacher's kid, but I made relationships. Because I'm Jonathan. Sometimes church is too comfortable. And you need to be pulled out of your comfort zone to hear God. It doesn't mean we're hearing a different truth, because remember, I said camp is preaching the same truth that the church is. And it makes me think of a song. It's called 1991 by Mac Powell. If any of you haven't heard it, you need to go home and listen to it. Because it's his testimony song. And in it, he's talking about when he was born, he did whatever he wanted to, running from God, breaking mama's heart, dying each day, living too hard. It's a miracle that I ever made it through. But by April 21st, 1991, I was worn out, tired from all the miles that I had run. Saw an old church and walked right in. Same old truth, but it felt new then, on April 21st, 1991. Sometimes it takes being pulled out of your comfort zone to hear and see God. By leaving their home, by leaving their church, where they've been, campers come to camp, they get put on uneven ground, everybody's kind of off kilter, not in the same seat they've always been in, but on that uneven ground they find a rock. Or better yet, the rock finds them. I've seen it over and over and over. I don't get to be with the kids all the time, but all it takes is me stepping out onto my porch one evening after an evening session, and all of camp is littered with kids sitting there talking to adults. My wife has a great memory. She said 1 year before she was an intern, she did serve at camp, and that year they had every single adult outside, sitting in different spots, counseling a student, one-on-one counseling. And everybody's, whether you can see them, but they're all spread out all across camp, but every adult was taken to be talked to. There was nobody leading camp at that point. The rest of the campers that weren't talking to adults were inside, being led by the worship team, who was just like, we're gonna keep playing until everybody's done. And sometimes an adult would come back in with a kid, and another kid would take that adult right back out. They come to camp, get a little uncomfortable, and they hear a still, small voice. So this year at camp, our theme is Summit. Trusting God from the pit to the peak. Now, Summit is just the logo for this Bible character we're going to learn about, who is Joseph. Now, there is somebody who literally got dragged from his comfortable place. And there's a lot of us here, and there's a lot of students at camp who can really identify with Joseph's story. Because Joseph was betrayed. And everybody here can say, I've been betrayed once or twice. And students come to camp feeling, I've been betrayed by somebody. Maybe it's a parent because of a divorce that's happened. Maybe it's a friend that they trusted once. But a student can come to camp and identify with Joseph for being betrayed. And you know, I would have called that a pit in Joseph's life. He was betrayed by his own brothers and sold into slavery. And students can relate to this next part of Joseph's life where he rises up. He works really hard and he becomes top man in Potiphar's house. He's stewarding everything that Potiphar owns. And you know, there's a lot of students who come to camp and they've worked really, really hard. They've gotten to this really good spot. Maybe they are top student in their class, or they're working towards a job and they are moving forward in that, or they're just doing a great job being a kid. Whatever it is, they've worked so hard and they're at this good point. But you know, Joseph worked hard and got there. He had a fall, and it wasn't even his fault. He was unrightly accused, thrown in prison for something he didn't do. And I've met a lot of campers myself who came to camp and they're in that spot of, I don't deserve to be where I am right now. I'm in this low, low, low. The Summers family hits my heart pretty hard because this is the point when a lot of students do commit suicide. And I think I've preached on this before. There's The statistics are staggering just for Kansas. And when you hear a statistic like the number one cause of death from ages 6 to 14 is suicide, my daughters are 6 and 8, and I can't imagine a 6 and an 8-year-old killing themselves. I thought car accidents would be the number one cause of death. You have a lot of students, a lot of campers that hit that low. Maybe they didn't deserve it. Maybe they did something wrong. It doesn't matter. They're at this low spot. They can identify with Joseph. And the next part in Joseph's life has nothing to do with him, because I think he was a little humbled being in that prison. If you read Joseph's story, you'll hear it. You should. And you should come to camp and hear it there. But then, what rises him from that pit is not Joseph's own merit or work, but it's the Lord. And he brings him up to being second in command to Pharaoh. And students need to come to camp and hear that the Lord rises you up and brings you farther up and farther in than you could have gone on your own. They can identify with Joseph in all these ways, and we want them to identify with Joseph in the last one. Because it doesn't matter what kind of pit you end up in, God can rise you out of it. And that's what we're talking about this year, is Summit. So, you might be asking right now, maybe you've got a lot more questions, but you might be asking right now, what can we do in order to help camp with this mission, in order to help camp with this need for students to come and experience Christ in a safe environment? Well, number one, you can send. These are campers getting ready to go to camp right now, and this is where it starts. They're at that church. It starts here with church saying, yeah, hey, get pushed out of your comfort zone, go. And maybe it's not just camp. There's lots of good missions out there. But right now, at camp, send. Send campers. And not only send campers, send adults. If you're scared of snakes, I'm sorry. But there's a lot of them at a camp, and it takes our really good adult volunteers to keep camp running. Right now, they're dispatching the snake. The snake was not harmed, as far as I know. Although I wouldn't have minded if it was. So send adults. Our adults don't have to pay to come to camp. We don't believe that an adult who's taking 4 days, 5 days, or even just 3 days off of work, we don't believe they should have to pay to come minister to students. We want adult volunteers to talk to their pastor and get the stamp of approval from the church and be sent out, come to camp for free, and minister to students. So, send students and send adult volunteers. Also, sending volunteers just to work. This was a work crew that came out and painted the chapel, and they did an excellent job. Now, you might know this next picture, I believe. Yep, you know that one. That's so that you can now get on to my dad about that picture. But you might not be able to see very well into here. But the people in there are some people in this congregation. You guys came out. You worked on the bathhouse. You got it going again, and we now have the bathhouse completely operational. What you guys did in this demolition would have taken my dad and I alone weeks. You did it in one morning. So thank you. The sending of adults that you've done has already helped. So when I'm telling you the ways you can help camp, I don't want you thinking, oh boy, he needs more. Because this is also a thank you. You have sent students, you have sent adults. Thank you for the sending you have done. The second way that I tell people that they can help, I don't like talking about this because I was raised in church to not talk about two things, sex and money. Promise I'm going to talk about money right now.
That is not true
It's important, but not something I'm supposed to preach on right now. We can have that talk later. So, giving is the second thing I ask churches to help with. We are a nonprofit organization. Camp registrations only cover the base costs of them coming to camp. Food, electricity, insurance. That is it. When it comes to payroll, it covers some of it, but not really all of it. It takes individuals and churches donating monthly or one-time big gifts in order for camp to keep going. We are only continuing because of people like, I'll just call her Grandma Kay, who just donates $25 a month. And none of you need to know who she is. God knows who she is. She's been faithful sending that. Or churches just sending $50, $100 a month. Or individuals giving big one-time donations. Whatever it is. That's why camp keeps going. That's how camp can keep going. And it's these one-time donations that then cover the cost of our volunteers to go free. So, consider giving. Consider sponsoring an adult. We don't ask for it, but if churches can send a payment with the adults to cover their costs, that really helps. So consider giving in those ways. And the way you guys gave for mini split air conditioner units was amazing. We had a little fundraising challenge and a bunch of people came together, and now we have mini splits for the canteen, the shop, another dorm room, and the health aid office. And that's going to increase our efficiency dramatically. My dad is so excited. And thank you. It was because of a church like this one. It was actually your church and another church that came together and said, let's do this. So thank you. Now, the last thing, and the very last one, the way I ask for you to help at camp is to pray. At this point, people start nodding off because this is the churchy answer. Pray for camp. But I mean it. I should have led with this one, but I always end with it. Prayer should be the first and last thing you do for camp. Whenever I've thought camp is done, whenever I've thought we won't make it this winter, whenever I've thought I'm not going to get my workers that I need, I'm working alone this summer. My wife asks me if I've prayed. And I said, yes. Prayer is the number one thing we need you to do. When deans come to camp, they're the ones who put together what a camp looks like. They're the ones who find volunteers and a band and a speaker. The minute a dean steps foot at camp, something very dramatic happens at home. And I'm not making this up. A family member dies, gets in a car crash. Something big happens. There's spiritual warfare, and the dean is then divided. Pray for our deans that when they come to camp, there's peace back at home so they can focus on the hard work that they are about to do all week. Pray for our adult volunteers because they're caught in a moment. Every camp, there's one moment where an adult is sitting there and then a kid asks a really hard question. And now this adult has to answer that or say that we can look it up together. Pray for them for those moments, that those moments happen and that wisdom comes to them in those moments. Campers, when they come to camp, we've had many campers signed up, ready to go, and then something at home stops them. Sometimes it's a court custody case, and then one parent says they can't go. And it's bad, and we've gotten in the middle of that on accident. We didn't know what was happening. Or sometimes they say they can come and then they get sick. Whatever it is. Campers can't even make it sometimes. So pray for campers. Pray for me and my family. About the time May hits, I say, so long, I'll see you at the end of June. And I just go next door and work because I'm always working. and I'm gone all the time. And you know what it's like when the harvest season comes in. You harvestmen, you're out there, you're not back home till the harvest is done. Well, that's my harvest time, is May through June. So pray for me and my family, and pray for my dad and his family. My dad and mom sacrifice a lot in order to keep camp going. So, number one, pray. Even when you go home today and you're about to eat lunch, just, Lord, be with camp. Amen. Something. Just pray for camp. Number two, send. Send campers. Send adults. Number three, give. Give generously so that camp can keep doing this mission that we feel so vital and so needed for people like the Summer family. And number one, pray. Pray that students come to experience God in a new way, and that they hear His still, small voice. So, as I'm ending my message, we're going to sing an invitation hymn, hymn 444. I know who holds tomorrow. We're going to sing the first verse. Now, I do not know this song, so you all had better sing very loud.